know. I used to watch his...
I watch his show every day.
But listen,
and I got the Patreon.
Stand on who you are and say these consequences are because of who I am. That's it. Because I wouldn't be out here doing things to people that I wouldn't want done to me. But now you built a whole platform doing it. A lot of your first viral clips was talking about other people, but you was Mr. Sensitive in the industry. How does that happen? Like, I'm
even
not
Joe Budden.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Joe Budden can create content.
But here's the thing.
But Joe Budden has to be in the content for it to go.
But listen,
he does create things that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes the way if he's not alongside whoever. He could be promoting whoever show,
mm-hmm.
whatever show on his network.
Yeah.
Still on Joe Budden. It will not do what it does if he ain't sitting with you there every week.
Mm-hmm.
As a creator,
but see,
how do you remove yourself from your content and still make the money or make past that?
Mm-hmm. The difference between me and Joe Budden is he keeps looking up. I'm not that type of person. Like, I know, and this is why people didn't understand the situation that happened with his old co-host, is because you're trying to make these vertical leaps. And sometimes when you make those vertical leaps, you have to change the environment around you.
I feel like they were making the leap.
Listen. Let me finish, right? Sometimes if me, you, and Donovan came in here,
mm-hmm.
and I built the People of Atlanta, and this was our premiere show, the Gender Wars, the thing we did, right? And we just talking every week, and we go from $30,000 a month to $40,000 a month. And then somebody comes in and says, here, I could give y'all $1 million, but these are the stipulations I want. I can say, 40,000 to $1 million. That's what, that's like 70, 80. That's almost doubling what I'm making a month. Let me try, but I gotta fulfill these stipulations. I'm not that type of person.
No, because I'd rather have what I want.
Yeah, I'd rather have it the way I want it. I can
make past that, building it the way I want to build it.
Yeah, building it the way I want to build it is just gonna take longer, but I get to stay in the environment that I'm already comfortable with. That's the difference. People don't have patience, right? You can get to the top with all your homies, right? You all just have to have patience in doing it. It's when people start finding vertical leaps that they start putting their
So who you think took the vertical leap in that situation with them?
What you mean?
Joe or his co-host at the time?
Well, him wanting to take the vertical leap is what led to the miscommunication of what happened. That's what happened. That's why even
starting up the branch of the network is what fueled them into thinking he had more to give than what he was giving them?
No. It's when the deals came and certain requirements were needed.
I think what got misconstrued is the fact that on paper, it's Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
And they get what they get being on the show.
Yeah.
But what got muddied...
Let me tell you
what got muddied mm-hmm. is the fact that they thought their friendship went past what was on paper.
But see, here's the thing.
Until it collided and Joe had to let them know that it doesn't. And that didn't sit well with them.
No, but here's the thing. Even like what he said to them, he said, y'all are going to take salary. That mindset is, I'm trying to turn y'all into workers. The different...
No.
Wait, listen. Can I finish? Let me finish.
Because I'm going to cap for Joe. I got a Joe Budden cap. Because I feel like a lot of times people catch a lot of snippets of his shows.
I know. I used to watch
I watch his show every day.
But listen.
And I got the Patreon. So I see the shit that people don't pay for, but they get snippets of and think they take that and run with it.
Yeah.
When I have watched religiously for like almost probably the last 3 years.
You want to know the crazy part about what you said though? Is remember how you said way at the beginning of this podcast, you was like, some people, when they go on the internet, this is the bubble that they create and they get addicted to what that looks like. If you pay attention, that's why Joe backtracks on things so much, right? So he'll say, yo, such and such trash artist. He's doing that because it's content. But then when he meets him, it's, oh yeah, he's a cool guy.
I don't think that.
What do you think?
I think he really believes it's trash because they got mad. He then has to appease them. And
that's what I'm saying.
And he's come out to say that too. Like, even the verses that just happened.
Yeah.
he said, yo, man, we gotta talk our shit today. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
He said, a lot of these niggas gonna be mad at me. A lot of niggas gonna give me phone calls.
Listen.
He said, I'm gonna try to call some of these niggas right now while we doing it, just so they don't call me after this shit.
But listen,
he tries to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
but he know he can't be honest.
No,
So he
but
does
you-
find the mix of.
You can be on, because if people know when people are being genuinely honest and when people aren't being, and that's why people hate Skip Bayless, but they like Shannon Sharp. That's the reason, because Skip Bayless, bro, we know you being intentionally like
A hater.
Yeah, you being intentionally a hater because it's good for content. That's why you got paid by ESPN and was able to go to Fox and make the money that you make.
So you don't think sometimes Shannon juices it for entertainment?
Shannon will say stuff, but if you really pay attention to what he says, he's not saying it with malice or maybe to be interpreted that he said it with malice. That's the difference between when Skip say it, we know you don't believe this, because when we talk to you further, you will do anything. You've picked a point and you want all arrows to lead to this point. Shannon is like, look, logically, this is what happens, then this is what happens, then this is what happens, and this is the point I come to, which is how most people should act. So whenever somebody, you got to pay attention. Like when people start out a conversation was like, look, y'all about to be mad at me, but you know what you're about to say is about to be divisive with no intent. Go ahead.
You got People of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. You got any co-hosts on there?
No.
Okay. How long that's been running?
6 months.
Okay. You bring me in today moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's been going 6 months.
Yep.
It popped off.
Mm-hmm.
You bring me in since then.
Yep.
It grows. It grows. It doubles.
Mm-hmm.
2 years pass. I want 30% or even 50% of the people of Atlanta.
But let me finish. Hold up, you skipped the part though. They were already getting a percentage. That's the difference. So if you come in and I say, Feats, I'm gonna pay you 25%, right? And whatever happens,
to
from
my
there,
understanding, the contract was the contract.
Was a percentage. That's why he tried to get them to switch to.
But he didn't try to do no switching until they brought up the equity. The point was they were getting what they were getting based on it was a scale based arrangement.
Yeah.
The contract initially.
Percentage, yeah.
They felt as though it was bringing in more than what he was telling them. Things that should be.
Even
because
we
they
skip
felt
past
like
that.
if you're in a position to turn down deals, you getting money. Because Joe was kind of transparent about certain things that was coming in, and him not being so transparent with them off camera with those. A lot of the times, their understanding of those situations was what Joe said on camera. He didn't have a lot of those specific contract conversations with them because, like he would say, when I get called to go into a boardroom, they're not calling me Rory and Mal. They're calling fucking me.
But see, the difference
my
is
manager.
when you sit, and this is why you have. Listen. This is why when you have boats, you have the captain. But
I'm not saying he's right about how he treated them or how he went about it. But at the end of the day, the contract at the time was the contract.
But
the show got to where it got to, and y'all try to flip the script.
No, listen.
Or renegotiate, but it wasn't renegotiation time. Y'all jumped the gun.
But see, when you work with people, you have to. You don't get to pick and choose when you work with them. So if I bring you on to the People of Atlanta, I say I'm gonna give you 25%. Who would I be for you to have staked your time and effort into this podcast, me to go into a room, even though I built it, and solely by my word, pick what your future is going to look like? That's not how that works. We are now working together. So I have to come back to you and say, look, I know I'm giving you 25%, but they're willing to double our monthly thing. Now, that's when you have the conversation of wait.
That's when moral and business cross lines.
But that exactly. But you have to have good morals to do good business.
That's
and
true.
if you don't come back and talk to those people, that is unethical. That's when you take business ethics in college. That's what they teach you. What he did was
the thing with them that I feel is unfortunate because everything was new for them on the first go around. A lot of things were unethical when you look back at it.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that at the time.
Exactly.
And then when shit hit the fan, it was too much for all parties. to just say, let me take a deep breath, take a step back, and really try to fix this. They all was working on ego and pride, and as men, and said, nah, nigga, you not going.
They weren't working on ego and pride, because the respectful thing, that's why you said multiple times in this podcast, it's respect first. And just respect me enough to let me know what's going on with this thing you asked me to do with you.
But that's not something he did and stopped. That was the norm. That's my thing. It wasn't the norm for him to do that with them.
What you mean?
As long as the podcast has been running.
What you mean?
When some episodes, when he got down to the nitty gritty of certain episodes and meetings that he had, they were never there for any of them.
But
he was never one to really kind of, I mean, he would obviously tell them about it, but I feel like the prior discussions he didn't have with them, and that was norm until they got to a certain point. Now,
because you start, it's just like you said, you
things
think
change,
like,
parameters change.
I don't think that
more.
person's gonna do this to me. Like, nah, that's not, because
but it's a conversation you have. You don't lay it on the line where you put everything at jeopardy. It was a way to process that behind the scenes and not interrupt the show.
Yeah.
And when it interrupted the show, they got upset that Joe brought in Ice and Ish to keep the show going. But if up until that point, I'm Team Rory and Mo.
But listen. Even when he brought in Ice and Ish, right? He brought in Ice and Ish
to just keep the show going.
No, but here's the thing: you didn't do what was respectful to keep the show going when you were taking meetings and not telling the people that you.
But that had already passed. My show, me being Joe, and this how I eat. My show still got to run Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
But listen, don't get mad at me when I make a decision that doesn't respect this show to continue, right? So and
that's fine, but don't double down on me then making a decision to keep my show going when this how I eat. When you leave the shit, regardless of how you feel about it, when you leave it, I still gotta eat off this.
That's fine. You can do that, but don't try to paint it like it's wait.
You know how a lot of this shit started? They had a bashing Joe session, and involved Parks into that conversation. Wrong move.
What you mean?
Because Parks and Joe have been like this since Joe's earliest albums.
Yeah.
Regardless of Maul, you have been down with Joe since a lot of the times too, but you got to know when to have certain conversations with certain people.
Yeah.
That was not to have the conversation with Parks in there. That went from them to it getting to Joe, to then the lawyers, to then shit spiraling.
Yeah.
And it could be a lot of things that went on too that they haven't even told us that they've had amongst themselves about arguments and things of that nature too.
And even when you talk about Joe Budden, like, listen, but where there's smoke,
he's not always right by any means. He doesn't always do the best. So when make the best decisions.
When you look at something like that, you have to look at the track record. Now, nobody is perfect, right?
No.
So I'm not saying Rory and Maul did everything perfect in their situation. What I am saying is when you watch his interaction, he gets caught between being a creator, being an owner, and being a coworker. You get caught in that
because he's everything.
Because you're trying
and it's a very fine line between being a friend, your boss, and your coworker.
Yeah, and there's a lot of responsibility, and if you're not ready to do
that, he's not good at how that gets balanced, because this is the first time that we're seeing a podcast at this magnitude.
Yeah.
You know, he's the podfather for a reason. He is the mold. Let's not get it twisted. We're gonna give Joe his flowers.
For which Joe?
Joe Budden.
Okay.
For starting this podcast and shit.
He started it?
Who started it?
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
You check the dates?
Joe Rogan.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Go ahead, continue.
Joe Budden is the podfather.
All right, that's fine.
If anything, he's the leader for our people.
Okay, that's a better term.
He's the leader for our people.
That'd be,
because we wasn't watching no fucking Joe Rogan. Was you?
No.
Okay, I was watching Joe Budden before any podcast popped off. Granted, is other people that's making money and doing drink champs. Everybody.
Hold on. What's your definition of a podcast?
This.
Sitting down, talking in front of a camera.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. People.
You could be. It doesn't always have to be visual. It can be audio only too.
You know who the real podfather then is? It's DJ Academics. Let's stop the cap. My man, see, but look, DJ Academics was on Twitch talking about current events for hours at a time. That was a podcast. People just took that, put it on a camera.
You know what? I think a podcast, I would say this. A podcast has more than one person.
I've seen podcasts with one person.
Do they talk to themselves?
No, but DJ Academic didn't always only talk to himself. He had rappers call in. He was talking to.
You think there's a difference between podcasting and streaming?
No, you can stream your podcast live.
Okay, but
because when you really track it back, it's really radio. What a podcast is really radio.
A visual radio.
So actually, the first podcast is The Breakfast Club. We all watched The Breakfast Club before Joe came. Everybody was tuning in to all of them episodes.
You know what it is? I think. Because even back then, Breakfast Club would still put their episodes on YouTube.
Yep.
You know, everything still went on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see what the difference is between, and it might not only been Joe doing it, but that era of when Joe started doing it, and what made it different to where the wave of where the title podcasting became a wave.
You want to know why
it wasn't until maybe a year or two after him,
but why
it became a thing?
Why though?
Because he got the Spotify deal.
That's not why though. The reason what Joe Budden,
I feel like it's a part of it.
Listen,
once people saw it was money to be made from it, everyone started fucking grabbing the mic.
But the part that the money is coming from though, that made everybody else want to do it, and that separates him from Joe Rogan, right? Is he was there with his homies just talking. That's what separated this.
That's all it was.
thing.
It was just him. He had a vision for it, but I don't even think he saw this.
Yeah, but that's why you have to give credit.
He just said all it was in the beginning, him just talking, chopping shit up with his homies. And it wasn't even Rory and Mal in the beginning. They didn't come till later.
I mean, episode 5 isn't that crazy.
Rory was
episode 5.
Rory came first,
and the SoundCloud that the first episode was uploaded on was under a email that Rory created. These people have been here from the beginning. That's like me and my homeboy sitting here trying to create my YouTube art, make my banner art.
So how do you feel about when
I'm saying
I have Joe Budden Network or whatever, or you have RTAB? Atlanta, your TikTok.
Yeah.
People of Atlanta, you're telling me, hey, Ab, you could, in addition to what we doing, start creating your own people of Atlanta. Create your shit from the mud. Create something that's gonna be as big as this. But this your heart and soul. No matter how you feel about it, no matter how much work you put into it, I feel like you could be at a part of something for 5 years, but you would never have the same heart and soul as the originator.
But there's a reason but
at the same time, you pushing me to have more for myself. I'm saying no. Because I only want this.
Exactly.
And I want a piece of this. But at the same time, you but this what I built. I put you into it, but I built this.
But listen, the difference is you have to understand, and that's people.
Why not get your own?
Listen, that's what people being egocentric gets people. They think everybody, and we go back to the Bible that we was talking about earlier. The way you do things ain't the way everybody else want to do things. My mom don't want to be a content creator, but what my mom will do is when I get big enough to replace her salary, she'll go through and type all the descriptions for me for a certain percentage of the company. She'll do that. It's not her dream to do what I did. It's not and I realized that because I was working with my friends, and I realized my dream ain't their dream. But if you can participate in my dream to boost it up, I'm going to give you your just due. And if that's enough for you to live on, then go live. And that's what Rory and Mal was trying to tell him. We don't want to have the Rory and Mal network. We just want to chill with our homie. We're boosting you up. Just pay us what we're owed because you came to us.
You can't say that when you turn around and then make your own podcast.
Well, not, but see, you put them in that position though. You put them in.
Put themselves in. He never sent them packing.
But listen,
they decided to go.
I felt like you're disrespected.
I felt like
what are you supposed to do?
Even when they took time off and then came back and did that one episode together, I still felt like they didn't give it enough time and they didn't give it a clear sound and mind and conversation between them amongst men behind the scenes to really give it.
Once you figure out, and it's that thing where you feel like.
But how much can we say what we're saying is even really
accurate.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
We don't know what the true parameters of what that contract was.
Yeah.
We just know kind of what they allude to.
I know two things to be true, though. I know Joe will do things for content. He will smear what actually is the truth for sake of content. We know that to be fact way before that happened because we watch you do it on all the episodes, right? So if I'm going to take a side,
I feel like we're watching a different Joe now because of the Joe that he gave us in the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. I feel like
the money.
I feel like in the beginning he wasn't worried about that. He was really just being Joe.
But see, that's what happens when you get worried about money.
But when you're a dick in real life and you're an asshole in real life, you have to tailor that in packaging.
Yeah.
Because you can't just come out and be straight a dick and expect people to tune in every week. So it's like, I feel like in the beginning he was very raw and uncut, and he did things to get buzz and to.
So he stopped being who he.
But now he has to be a tailored version of himself because he has to be politically correct.
Yep.
So some people won't get mad. So, you know, he doesn't make the blogs. But I think he's okay when he makes the blogs because he's like, fuck it, brings more people to my show. I think he's got to a point where, like, whatever I make the blogs for now, I don't even give a fuck.
Because
but I still try to be politically correct in what I do.
But you also had to have this stain with people that you grew up with.
But they had to go through the mud. People were talking about how he was fucking his dog, all kind of shit. Like,
we're besides all the extra
abuse,
other stuff. If you could have got to the same point. It may have been 2 years later. It may have been 5 years later. And you could have kept all your friendships. But you were too focused on leaping forward so fast that you had to break apart your... That is when you say the difference between me and Joe is the difference. If this journey take 20 years for us to get to the point where we could travel the world with all my homies and I don't have to put enough pressure on them for them to be what I want, but they... give enough to this platform to where I can still see the road leading there. That's the road I'm going on. I'm not breaking up my friendships
and you
for
know
money.
What I hate too? I feel like that to get to that type of mentality sometimes
you got to be honest with yourself.
And it's the experiences you go through.
Exactly.
Because I can see all what you're saying, but I feel like my experiences has shaped me to be like
the other way.
Yeah, kind of like I built this. If I'm even though I brought you in, my thing is, again, I don't necessarily his way of going about it. I don't necessarily agree with, but I do have a love for Joe at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I don't agree with everything he does. I just want to be clear on that point. But for me, I create a business, the Feats and Treats Network.
Yeah.
From off rip, when I bring you in, I'm going to say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. And this is what we're doing, X, Y, and Z. This is mine. Because I feel like at the end of the day, unless we were sitting at the creators table together, you will never have... You can have passion, but I feel like you won't have certain things that I have when it comes to the passion because I sat at the table. I sat down with the paper and thought of the names. I sat down and thought of the concepts. I sat down and thought of this. And all I did was ask you to be a part and enhance what I have planned out.
Listen, and you know what separates our culture, not even our culture, the people like Joe Biden.
But at that same point, I still want you to take what I did and do that thing and create your own.
But no,
so not only are you a part of mine, you done created something else too.
But here's the thing: you asked me to take the rest of and make this a priority.
Your 30 hours a week, you could have been doing whatever you was doing before me. I'm asking you to now take 30 hours. And
but I don't want that much. Everybody doesn't want that much. I just want the bit that I'm gonna get here. If I can get 5% here, I'm willing to do whatever work for this 5%. I don't want. And the difference between
I don't think what they were asking for boiled down to just that.
I mean, I didn't. And
I don't think that's how they positioned it either. Because if they did.
I mean, because
I don't think he would have been so against it. But if
he was, let me get back to the point I was about to make. The difference between Joe Budden and Jeff Bezos, right, is because Joe Budden he said, "This is my product. I want to be the biggest receiver of what the fruits of this labor gets. So yeah, I was willing to give you 20% as long as the fruits of your the full labor kept you under this amount, right? Because that he even said that in the podcast. He was like, I was comfortable giving them percentages, but not that big of a percentage. The difference between the Joe Budden podcast and a company like Amazon is because Jeff Bezos said, look, I got 18%. I own 18% of the company. The rest is for the people. Whatever driver, whichever CEO, whichever factory manager comes, it don't matter if this.
But you got to think too. Joe doesn't have the equity and scale of Amazon
but
either.
See, Amazon wasn't always there. But if you keep stripping away people to get to the top, you're gonna find out there's a ceiling. You have to go with the people that you started with. Not necessarily, but you have to. You can't be so addicted to getting the whole pie because it's yours.
I feel both sides of their argument, given what their specific circumstances were in their argument. They felt like, because.
You think Joe wasn't making enough money to survive?
I have, before the Rory and Mal fallout, I have spoken with Mal. I'm an avid watcher. So when I tell you I'm in the Discord, I post them religiously. Yeah. Before the Rory and Mal fallout, I could send Mal a direct message and he would answer.
Yeah.
Like, I would comment on his stuff, he would reply.
He left money bags under your picture?
No, I didn't get the money bags. Yeah. I wasn't that lit. I didn't get the money bags, but if I wrote to him, he would respond.
Yeah.
I got at least that good. So when the shit started happening, I thought this shit was like a fucking joke.
Yeah.
I said, this shit's got to be a fucking joke. Like, there's no way the band is breaking up. And I wrote him like, is this like for real? Like, and he was like, you know what? To be honest, like, I don't even really know what's going on. You just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And that was when they had already kind of stopped doing shows.
Yeah.
But then maybe a week after I asked them that, they came back and did that one episode, and then shit, that was it. I feel like they should have never did that. I feel like that killed them. Yeah. Because they hadn't figured everything out and they didn't know how to be on that episode. And with that in compilation with the public response. Yeah. Was too much for all parties.
Let me tell you something.
And then they just felt like, you know what, fuck that. Like, now we just got to be done.
Now that you're about to go back into content creation, I'm going to give you one piece of advice that could have stopped this whole thing that happened with them from happening. When you get around people who are more concerned with the image than the impact, they will do whatever to keep and what they don't understand is that image won't be the way you want to portray it. It won't be that way to everybody. But if your impact, because mind you, his impact was we should have ownership. If that's truly your impact, why wouldn't you give the people that you started blowing up with ownership? Or do you not really believe that?
Own that, but why you want to own a piece of mine? Why you don't want to own something that's yours?
Imagine Jeff Bezos saying to his CFO, I know you, why do you want to own one of my factories?
No, you already here. Take what I'm giving you and multiply instead of trying to take more of what I got.
It's not. You're not taking more. The percentage is the same.
You wasn't.
Look at it. How is the percentage going to change?
First of all, they were already the highest paid compared to the entire industry.
I have a question. If I'm paying you 20%. The fact that we make more money, you feel like I'm giving you more. You're still giving me the same cut of the pie.
But if you make 20% of whatever the pot is, if the pie increases, you're still making 20% of that pie.
Exactly. So you're not giving me more.
So
we generated more.
What's the problem then? Why renegotiate if y'all still getting the same?
Because contracts end. So what will be the problem with us?
But that's the thing. I think the thing with them, the contract hadn't ended yet.
But here's the thing.
They tried to.
But here's the
break their contract and renegotiate before it became negotiation season. But I think that's what kind of hit Joe with it's business, but y'all my mans. Like, y'all really try to hit me with the before it's due when I'm already overpaying y'all in the field that we in.
Overpaying? Why didn't you just pay me? Come on, bro. What are we talking about?
I'm saying compared to what other people make in that field. Rory and Mal,
why are you comparing? If me and Rory helped you generate more than the rest of the field, why would you cut those people out your team?
Nobody's not cutting you off. They the one that tried to renegotiate. Joe didn't say, "Hey, let's sit down and look at this." They brought that because to Joe.
They found out that
Since maybe signing, it's making more, as most businesses do. So when come time for the renegotiation, y'all renegotiate, but y'all try to jump the gun on that.
But here's the difference, though.
And then y'all had the whole fuck Joe. Y'all roasting y'all boss. And then it gets back to the boss.
Listen, you say, why ask to renegotiate? If you came here to the people of Atlanta, right? And I said, Feats, we're going to run this show.
If you tell me we got a year.
No, listen. Yeah, we got a year. Say it gets to 9 months.
And the shit triples before the year comes.
I'm going to still pay you but listen.
I'm going to wait till my year's up.
Hold up. Let me finish, though.
That's what I signed for.
But what about with that 9 months, you find out that the people of Atlanta is actually bringing in some other money that you didn't know about. And
we don't know that to be true.
But we don't. But we don't know it not to be true either.
So we can't assume that that's what made them do that, because we don't know that.
Exactly. So you can't assume that they were wrong for asking for renegotiations. We don't have enough information yet.
That's why I said I'm on both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Regardless. I just feel like regardless of what was going on with what was at stake with them and the show and what they brought to the culture and things of that nature.
Yeah.
They should have all put their pride aside. And really,
whose pride? Where did it start with, though?
I think they all had a level of pride and ego.
All right, yeah, we're good.
I do think they're all accountable to some extent in certain aspects of the conversation. In certain, let's say the conflict took 3 months. The conflict lasted 3 months. They all had an equal part in those 3 months of causing destruction along the way. And escalating
there's only one captain of the ship, bro.
But at the same time, we are also dealing with people, regardless of he's the captain. It's up to him to have let me be the bigger person at the end of the day.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Because he's the head. What did Spider-Man say? The something more responsibility.
More responsibilities.
That you cannot want to be the leader and want to have the same amount of responsibility as everybody else.
Why now, after he went through the thing with them and the situation with Olivia Song with the whole other show, with the whole she felt uncomfortable and all of that.
You watched it.
Yeah. He has to bounce back and find ways to now deal with that in the future and get an HR and get certain things. He didn't have a lot of those things in place because his platform hadn't reached there to need those things. But I think what he's now seeing too is he now has a corporation. He doesn't just have his homies on the couch.
Yeah.
He has people that aren't his homies.
Your corporation can be your homies on the couch.
But but you know the homies gonna give you certain leeway with certain shit. They ain't gonna fucking call certain folks on you. Maybe after certain times you do certain shit. But
see, that's
you got
what
a lot
happens.
more leeway with your homies than a girl you hire off the street and she just doing this fucking podcast on your network.
You just proved the point of why. Just be patient with the people that you know love you. Stop trying to fast forward your life. Because when you fast forward your life, you end up cutting out the people who actually fuck with you. And that's what happened.
People make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think with Joe, unfortunately,
how many career paths
he is the blueprint to the podcasting wars and levels that things that can go wrong.
Entertainment is entertainment.
You've had boy band groups that have gone through this, but it didn't look like. If that was the case, then Joe could have learned from everything that happened in the music industry and brought it into podcasting.
He should have.
Clearly, it's not so black and white, and it's not so transparent, and it's not so concurrent against each other that he couldn't just incorporate what happened in the music to what happens in podcasting. Clearly, it's not exactly the same, or else he's very experienced in the music business. He could have took them same.
That stays consistent through, and that's what people have to realize. The one thing that stays consistent, at least from my perspective of Joe's career, is the character. The character that either who you truly are, whether you say it's who you truly are or it's who you're pretending to be.
I think what he gives us is what he is.
Okay, so if this is who you are, then I'm not giving you leeway when if you know somebody is gonna cheat on you when you get with them. That's why I hate women who say, oh men cheat. Well, if you think that, why do you
get with any of them?
Yeah. Because you don't actually think that. So actually take the work to find so if this is actually who you are, I'm not going to have no sympathy when you don't make an effort to change yourself, and you go into the next career, same thing happens. Next career, same thing happens. Next career, same. I have no sympathy. There's no sympathy there. And you're the reason that it's going this way, because that's who you are. Just accept that. Stand on who you are and say these consequences are because of who I am. That's it.
I will say that I don't think he sometimes takes the accountability that he needs to take and just,
exactly,
this is because of me. He tries to couple like other people's factors and himself
woe
within
is me,
it,
the world's happening
instead of
to
just
me.
it being himself at times. But I feel like Joe's one of those people who is like, and with some people even in my own life, not just Joe, they don't have not everyone has the best character traits. Mm-hmm. But some people, you don't notice that until later. Yeah. But you've already grown to love them. Mm-hmm. So you learn how to navigate them in that trait you don't necessarily like.
That is a fundamental misconception of what love is. Because if you grew to love them, you grew to love an image of them. Once you find out who they are, then that's different. Now, the person I fell in isn't you. And it's okay for me to let you go.
But there's different sides of people. I can still be the same loving person I was with you, mm-hmm. but then still have a hatred or an assholeness.
No, you just didn't know them yet. That's it.
You didn't know that part of them. Yeah. But that part I shown you can still very much be real.
I guess.
Yeah. Everyone isn't loving 24/7. Everyone can be an asshole, but there's levels to being an asshole. Mm-hmm. Some is irreparable, some is okay, some is bearable. Everyone has a rudeness. Everyone has an annoyance level. Everyone has a bad trait level. Yeah, but if those levels are high, mm-hmm. some people choose to deal with that because they've already seen so much highs of the other sides mm-hmm. of you. Or some people say, you know what? This is me I'm getting your asshole level 10 out the gate. I don't give a fuck about your loving level 8 or level fucking 9 that you've got, because I've already seen the asshole level 10. So fuck you and fuck that. Yeah. Where some people might get the loving side of you on level 10 and they haven't seen the asshole side yet. But at the time they see it, they've gone to love you so much that they learn to either not bring it out of you mm-hmm. or they learn to just avoid it. Or when you get like that, they say, you annoyed with that nigga, peace out. I'm out till you done being this.
But see, here's the thing. At the core of your character, if respect lies there, you're not gonna. Everybody has those days.
I have levels of respect.
Yeah, but if your principle is respect, then there's just certain things that don't happen.
Because there's some people that respect people even after they've been disrespected.
For sure.
I ain't one of them.
I am, because I know once if I get disrespectful, that's gonna create a certain.
I'm gonna walk away, or it's gonna be escalated. Yeah. So a lot of times I try to just walk away, because I know me, I'm gonna take it up a notch, and the people that I'm there with are gonna get involved in something that I felt disrespected in. Mm-hmm. So I try to be cautious of that too, and aware of the things that I react to, because I know the people that's with me is going to react to it also. Mm-hmm. They're not just going to sit by and just watch me argue with people. Exactly. I'm going to start arguing with you. And if you're a dude and I'm with the dude, 9 out of 10 times while we're halfway through that argument, once you let bitch out your name, one of them niggas is duffing you in the mouth. Yeah, facts. We're not even going to go past that. Somebody's knocking your shit in.
That word right there is, I have a certain level of respect for people people got to stop pretending like they don't know what triggers people. Because you know what triggers you. Yeah. Right? So you know when you're talking to people or you're dealing with people or artists. Joe Budden was one of the most sensitive artists on the planet. They wanted to laugh when...
But they're out there clowning niggas.
Yeah, but wanted to laugh when Logic felt some type of way. When people are willing to do to other people what they're not willing to do, that they don't want done to them, those are bad people. And we just have... it's not my place to say whether he's a good or bad person. But those are people who just aren't as respectful as I would hold myself. And that's it. Because I wouldn't be out here doing things to people that I wouldn't want done to me. But now you built a whole platform doing it. A lot of your first viral clips was talking about other people. But you was Mr. Sensitive in the industry. How does that happen?
Yeah.
That's why, like, I like Joe. And a lot of times, I was one of them ones, I was in the same space you. I was like, people really taking Joe out of context. But when you watch long enough, if you watch and pay attention to somebody objectively long enough.
Two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people do take Joe out of context.
Yeah, they do. Facts.
But a lot of the times, people do have right to stand on what they say about Joe.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, he do gets taken out of context.
Yeah.
A lot of his viral stuff lately has been taken out of context because they don't watch the entire show.
Yeah.
And me watching the entire show, I'm like, when I see it go viral, I'm like, oh God, here they go. They about to go in on this nigga.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, then he'll come back on the next episode like, yeah, the internet tried the internet and get me, da 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 da. And he'll just either clarify it or double down on it. Like, it is what it is. Like, and I think he's gotten to the point where like certain shit they don't discuss because they don't want to be a part of cancel culture. So they'll be careful with certain shit for sure now on the show.
It's when the image is most important. Sometimes you could be yourself. Cancel culture can only affect those whose main mission is money. That's it. Because if this is who you really are, your supporters are gonna see he's not really. Long Beach Griffey is the number one.
You can be a nice person and have an unpopular opinion and be canceled, and still be a nice person.
But they can only cancel you from being accessible to everybody.
No, people will cancel you for that one specific action.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true.
The baby.
He's canceled?
People tried to cancel him for that one.
Did he get canceled?
Specific action. People tried to cancel you off of specific instances. And sometimes it sticks.
Only for
and
them.
Sometimes the cancel culture doesn't. Sometimes it sticks. Sometimes it doesn't. The bitch who swung at the presidential inauguration, her cancel stuck.
You want to know?
Certain people's cancellations stick, but the cancellation only comes about for a specific instance, not because of their character or their person. If that's the case, then we'll be canceling a whole lot of motherfuckers based on character.
Let me tell you why the inauguration lady is different. If she actually...
Because she black?
No. If she actually believed in what she was doing at that moment, what happened was she was part of a culture, right? Well, I don't know because I don't know the specifics. But if she actually believed in standing behind this message that she came and sung at the inauguration, she would have been fluent in that demographic. But you wanted to go appease this demographic for money, then come back to this demographic, which is have conflicting viewpoints. You gotta only take them. That's why all good money ain't good money. Like, some money is okay. We're good with that and that's why I bring it back to Long Beach Griffey. He be joking. All right. When he be doing stuff, he said, I am a comedian. I don't hate on nobody. I don't hate anybody. I'm just making jokes about things that we know to be true in the world. So when he drops certain words or makes certain content, everybody that really love him, they're going to come watch. The people who don't, they going to run and say, cancel. But he don't get scared because look, the people who really know, I'm here
like
to
Dave
be
Chappelle, they tried to cancel him.
Exactly. But it didn't happen.
Dave Chappelle.
Because if anybody who actually tunes in and watches the message, they're gonna say these people tripping. But everybody else is scared to lose money.
I need more liquor.
All right, we'll go ahead and end this here. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, tell everybody where to find you.